this week. So we are going to get into the funniest episodes of Supernatural, and we are going to rank them. And I'm very excited because there are so many funny episodes on this list. And some of them I literally forgot about. I was like sitting here trying to think of all the funny episodes. And I did have to like look it up a little bit because I was like, man, I forgot about a lot of different episodes that are just hilarious. Not all of them made it on this list. Because there are some that didn't make it on this list that are considered funny, but they're not like my favorite funny ones. So they didn't make it. But a good amount made it. So it's going to be super exciting. And all right. So what do you think? I want to know what you think is the funniest episode of Supernatural. Let me know in the chat or the comments, because I think it'd be fun to see like who's everybody, like what is everybody's favorite funny episode of Supernatural. Yes, because there are so many. Like I forget how many there are. There are so many. All right. So I haven't decided how I'm going to do this. If I'm going to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, or if I'm going to go backwards. Let's see. I'll go backwards. Okay, so I have 16 episodes in my list, and the 16th one is Phantom Traveler. Now, that one is all the way back in season 1. It is the 3rd episode. No, it's the 4th episode. It's the 4th episode. And I just watched it. And that's why it's on here, because I forgot that it was so funny. Phantom Traveler, okay, of course, now I'm having issues. It's because I have another window open. Yes, okay, now I'm having streaming issues. I see it. But it tells me when I'm having issues, and it has like these little bars, and it's red right now, so I know I'm having issues. And I think it's because I have this open. So I'm going to read the chat and hopefully it'll get better. There are so many. I don't know which is my favorite. Yeah, there are more than I thought there would be. Oh my gosh. This is okay. Now it's better. Okay. I just have a lot of windows open because I have like the different wiki pages, the different Supernatural wiki pages open for each episode. Okay. Anyway, well, I'll go from memory on this one because it's messing up the streaming quality. Okay, so Phantom Traveler. I just watched Phantom Traveler yesterday, and it is such a good episode, and I feel like it's such an underrated episode that people don't really talk about. But it is such a good episode. Like Phantom Traveler, it's so funny, and it's back when like Dean was just like hilarious because he hadn't gone to hell yet. And it's just, I just love Phantom Traveler. It did make it last on the list though, because I don't think it's like, because it's not considered like a funny episode, you know? Like I feel like there are certain episodes of Supernatural that are like specifically made to be funny. And I don't think Phantom Traveler was, because there's still like a lot of like lore and a lot of like stuff in it. But it's just like, it's really, really funny because it's the first time that they dress up as cops, and then they like almost get caught. And then Dean on the plane, that is when Dean was on the plane and he was so scared, and he was like humming. It was Metallica, right? He was humming Metallica and he's like, it calms me down. And oh my gosh, it was so funny. It's a hilarious episode. But yeah, I just watched that the other day. And so yeah, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And then Dean's face when they're like about to crash or might crash, and he's like up against the like wall of the airplane. He's just like, ah. Yes, it's a hilarious episode. Hilarious. But I feel like it's a very underrated episode, and so I had to put it on here. But yes, Phantom Traveler is one of my most favorite episodes of Supernatural. It's just so good. It's so good. Okay, and then number 15 is, I think it's, let's see. I put Moira, but I just want to make sure that it's the right one. Because... Oh, okay, yeah, this is it. So remember when they put Jack in like a box And okay, the stream is messing up again. Okay, here we go. Remember when they put Jack in a box, and it was like the box that Dean was going to put himself in when he was Michael? And then Jack broke out of it, and he got out and he was like walking around, and he was mad because everybody was lying. And so he got really mad, and he said, "Everybody stop lying." And then everybody stopped lying, and they had to tell the truth. And then they went, and this was like in season 14. So this was like a little, this wasn't that long ago, but it's so funny. It's one of my favorite episodes, because they just like, they walk into this like office looking for Jack, and then Dean like is like, "We're not really, we're not really cops." And then he's like, "Why did I just say that?" And then I love that episode so much, and it's such a good episode, and I really need to watch it again. Because I haven't watched that much because it's in season 14, but oh my gosh, Moira is a great episode. All right, and he said, "That's my favorite part. Dean's facial expressions live live in my head rent free." Yes. Oh my gosh, Jensen Ackles is so good at facial expressions. Like he makes the perfect facial expressions like all of the time. It's insane. Like you just like watch him, and he's just like so good at acting. It's insane, which is why I'm so excited to see him in The Boys. I really, really am, because I can't wait to see like him as a superhero and a villain. I can't wait, because I bet he's gonna be amazing at it. Yes. All right, and then number 14 is regarding Dean. Now, this is a very funny episode, but I put it as 14 because it's also really sad. It's also so sad because, like, so regarding Dean is the episode where he has like this spell on him, and he like starts forgetting everything. And oh man, it's so funny because like he forgets the lamp, and he forgets like everything, and he's like super nice to Rowena, because this is when they didn't like Rowena, and he was like super nice to Rowena, and Rowena's like, "Can't we just keep him like this?" And it was just so funny. And he's like, "We kill monsters." Oh my gosh, regarding Dean is a funny episode, but then it gets really, really sad at the end. It's like, oh my gosh, and he's like, "I don't remember," and it's like, oh my god. Oh, yes. Yes, I love that episode, and it is really funny, but it's also like really devastating. And so that's why it's not high up on the list, because though it's really funny, it also like makes you cry. So funny how Supernatural can do that in one episode. Supernatural packs so much emotion in all of their episodes. It's all of their episodes. It's wild. It's wild. All right, and then number 12 is Ghostfacers. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. It's messing up again. Yes, I know. The stream is messing up. Okay. I gotta exit out of some of these windows. I have a lot of windows open to go through all of the different episodes, but now I'm just doing the episodes from memory because it's messing up the streaming quality. All right, so Ghostfacers. So yes, Ghostfacers, this is when we meet the Ghostfacers, and I love the Ghostfacers. They are some of my favorite characters. Okay, sorry. I know the stream is messing up again, and that's why I'm like, okay. All right. All right, I know the stream is messing up, so I'm gonna wait a second. Okay, yes. So Ghostfacers is I love the Ghostfacers. I think they're one of the funniest like storylines in Supernatural. I love every time they bring them back, because I just love the Ghostfacers. I think they're amazing. They're so funny, and it's just so idiotic that it's funny, because like here they are, they're like ghost hunters, and they get so scared, and it's so funny. And yeah, I love the Ghostfacers, and so I think Ghostfacers is number 13. again, I didn't like rank it at the top, even though it's really funny, because I feel like there are like other funnier episodes that deserve more attention. But Ghostfacers, I love them. They're some of my favorite people in Supernatural. I think they're underrated too. I really do. I think it's such an amazing storyline. Um, all right. And then number 12 is wishful thinking. Yes. The Ghostfacers are great. Yes, yes, they are. They're amazing. Oh my god, they're so funny. All right, yes. So 12 is wishful thinking. This is the one where they have now this is like one of the episodes that was meant to be just like outright just ridiculously funny. So this is like the wishing well one where everyone just like made a wish in a town and like everything came true. Oh my gosh, and it's so funny. I love when they think it's like Bigfoot and they're like, no, Bigfoot isn't real. It couldn't be Bigfoot. And then it's like the big giant teddy bear. And then the teddy bear is so sad all the time. And it's, oh my gosh, it's hilarious. That is wishing well. Oh my God. Wishful thinking. That's what it's called. Wishful thinking. It is one of the funniest episodes ever, ever. Oh, I love it. I put it a little low on the list though, because like it's not my favorite funny episode, even though it's really, really good. You're like, yes, this is one of your favorite episodes ever. Yeah, it's such a good episode. I do tend to forget about it sometimes though. Like when I think back on like my favorite episodes, I'm like, oh yeah. It is such a good episode though, and it's so funny, and it's meant to be so funny, and I love it. I love it. All right. And then number 11 is yellow fever. And I had to put this one in because this is the one where Dean gets like scared at everything and the cat like comes out. Remember when it was like a cat or something and he screamed like bloody murder, and it's the funniest thing in the world. Another instance where Jensen Ackles just has like the best reaction and like facial expressions ever. It's so funny. It's so funny. And then I think this is also the one where like at the end he does Eye of the Tiger. Yes. Oh, you said you think Yellow Fever might be your funny episode, your favorite funny episode? Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so funny. And actually, I hate to say it, but this is one of the ones I forgot in the beginning when I was like brainstorming my favorite funny episodes. And then like I kind of like looked some episodes up and I was like, oh yeah, because I love the Eye of the Tiger part. I think that's my favorite part, even though it's not like really a part of the episode. I just think it's so funny. Eye of the Tiger, and he's just like sitting there doing it all. Oh my god. And it's so epic. Like Jensen Ackles at the end doing Eye of the Tiger and Baby is just like epic. It's epic. Yeah, it's amazing. All right, and then let's see. Number 10 is Time for a Wedding. This is the one where Becky makes Sam take the love potion and marry her. Oh my gosh. I think this episode is hilarious. I'm like laughing just thinking about it because I just think it's so funny how crazy Becky was. Like, she was so crazy. She legit gave this man a love potion and then tried to tie him up in the bed so he wouldn't leave. Like, that is insane. Isn't it funny? Oh my gosh, it's so funny. And then I just love, he's like, what did you do to me, Becky? What did you do? Why is my shirt off? Oh my gosh. And then when he tells Dean that he's getting married, and he's like, I'm in love. He's like, you're what? Oh, it is such a great episode. It is such a good episode. It's wonderful. And Garth is in it. And I love Garth and I love DJ. Yes. I know, right? It's the funniest part. The funniest part is when he calls him, and every time I watch that, I think of the time when Dean says it later, when those two girls try to like get the I forgot which was it the it was like the Black Grimoire or something, right? It was the Black Grimoire. Those two girls were trying to get the Black Grimoire, and they like enchanted him with like a love potion or whatever they did. And Dean said the same thing to Sam, and I just think it's hilarious. Yes, it's so funny. It's so funny. And he's like, I'm in love. He's like, what? And it's like the same thing in each episode. Oh, it's so funny. But yes, Time for a Wedding is such a good episode, and it is so funny. All right, so 9 is Monster at the End of the Book. And this is the one where, yes, okay. Sorry. This is the one where they figure out that they are in a book series, that they are literally like a book series. And this is the one where they think like Chuck's a prophet, and then like they go, oh my god, it's so funny. I love that episode mainly because we see Rob Benedict, and I think that's like the first time we see Rob Benedict. And as we all know, I think everyone knows, Rob Benedict is one of my most favorite people in this whole entire world. So yes, but yeah, it's the monster at the end of the book. Yep, it's when they realize that their whole life is a comic book named Supernatural. And they track down the writer, Carver Edlund, and he explains that he has visions of the brothers, and that's how he writes, which is so funny. But yes, I love it. But we all know that I love Rob Benedict, so that is why that is on there. And I do think it's really funny when they go in. Oh, and I also think one of the funniest parts of that episode is when they like go to Carver Edlund's, like, it's not his office, it's like his house, right? And that girl's there, and she's acting like she's like the biggest fan, and she starts asking them all these questions about like Supernatural, and and they're like answering all of it, and she's like, oh, okay. Like, she didn't expect them to know everything, but it was like them. And oh my gosh, so funny. So funny. All right. But yes, and then number 8 is a great episode. It is Dog Dean Afternoon. This is one of the best episodes ever. I really do think it is. It is so funny. And again, Jensen Ackles is just hilarious. He is just so good at acting, and he's literally acting like a dog. Like, it's so, and I just don't understand how good he is at it. You were watching that last night. It's, oh my gosh, it's so funny. And my favorite part is when he's like yelling at the pigeon. And then everyone's like looking at him, and Sam's like, come on. And he's just like, oh my gosh. It is hilarious. It is so funny. That is my favorite part. That is literally my single favorite part, is him yelling at the pigeon. It's so funny. Oh, and then I love the end where he's like talking about like dogs and cats and like maybe like conquering the world or something. And then it like ends. Oh, that is just such a great episode. Yes, it is. It is a wonderful episode. It's such a good episode. Oh my gosh. And then, let's see. Okay, so number 7, of course, this is a classic funny episode of Supernatural. It is Changing Channels. Yes. Changing Channels is so funny. And this is the one where Gabriel was like putting them in all of these different like scenes, and they had to do like the Dr. Sexy scene, and then they had to do the commercial. And then you know which commercial I'm talking about. Yes, I know. I love changing channels too. It is so, so funny. And then they had to do like the game show where they got hit in their crotch. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. It's so funny. Oh, it's such a great episode. And I'm just trying to think of all the different, they're in that like sitcom one. They're in oh my god, they're in like the CSI one. Oh, that one is so funny. Oh, so funny. I love that episode. But yeah, it's one of the like classic episodes of Supernatural, like the classic funny episodes. It's like always funny. Um yes. And then number 6 is another funny episode, although it does get sad at a certain point. It does get very sad at a certain point. But it is a classic episode. It is Mystery Spot, which is perfect to talk about today. I actually posted about it earlier on Instagram because it's Groundhog's Day, and in Mystery Spot they do the whole like Groundhog's Day thing where he keeps waking up and then like on the same day, and it's so funny because last year Groundhog's Day was on a Tuesday. This year it's on a Wednesday. Yes, Mystery Spot is so good. Did you know that there's like that place is real? Like there's actually really like a mystery spot, like I don't know what it's called, like a museum or whatever it is, like attraction. Excuse me. But that is real. It's real. Like the Mystery Spot is a real like tourist attraction. And so now I just really want to go so bad. I don't remember where it is, but oh my gosh, it just looks so so good. It looks so fun. But yes, I love Mystery Spot. It is hilarious. I love all the ways Dean dies because it's funny. You said you didn't know that that was a place. Yeah, I know. I didn't either until I like was looking it up one day, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is an actual place. That is so cool. I really want to go. And you're right. I would never go there on a Tuesday. Never. It would have to be a Wednesday. Yes. No, I would never go there on a Tuesday. But yeah, I think my favorite, I think it's so funny how Dean dies every time. And one of my favorite scenes is the scene where they're like talking in unison and they're like, I don't even remember what they say, but it's so funny because they're like, Sam Winchester cries during sex. Oh, it's so funny. I love that part, and then I love the part where I just love every single time he dies from something ridiculous because it's so funny. It's so funny because it's just so ridiculous, and I think my favorite one. I think it might have been the tacos. I just think the tacos are so funny. Or the like when he electrocuted himself. No, okay, I'm changing my mind. I think the funniest one is when he electrocuted himself. That is such it is so funny. And it's also funny when he slips in the shower. It's like, who would do that? Oh my gosh, it's hilarious. But the reason it's low on the list, not low, it's number, what did I put it at? Number 6, so it's not super low, but the reason it's like lower is because it does get really sad there for a second. Like when he really thinks that Dean dies for good, like it does get very, very sad. And you said your favorite was when he died in the shower. It's so funny. It's just like so random. And then he makes like the funniest noise and it's just like, thump. That's like it. Oh, it's so funny. It is. That is a funny way. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, there is like a part where he really thinks that Dean dies. And it's really sad. And you're just like, oh my gosh, this is heartbreaking. And then yeah, it's so sad because then and it's sad because like Gabriel made him think he like woke up on a Wednesday, he was super excited, and then he just killed Dean all over again, and it was so sad. And so that yeah, it does get super sad and you don't expect it because it's so funny in the beginning. It's like hilarious, and then it gets like really sad and you're like, what is happening? And then yeah, it's crazy. They do that a lot in these funny episodes. They make them like really funny, and then it's like, oh, but now let's sprinkle in some sadness here. It's like, okay, isn't there enough devastating storylines in this show? Give us something. I'm just kidding. There are there are episodes that are just funny and that's it. Um, Number 5 is one of my favorite episodes ever. Ever, ever, ever. Oh, it's so good. It is Peace of Mind. It is the one where Sam and Cass go to that like 50s town, and then Sam turns into like the brainwashed person. Yes, yes. Oh my gosh, it is one of my most favorite episodes. I just think it's hilarious. I think it is just so I just think it's one of the best episodes ever. I think it's wonderful. Like it's so good and it's so funny because Sam is just like a totally different person and you're just like what is happening? And then he tries to kill Cass. And then in the bloopers, if you've ever watched the bloopers, Jared actually kisses Misha. It's really funny. So funny. But yeah, that is one of my most favorite episodes, and I just think it's hilarious because Sam is just this, he's like, you better get out of here, mister. And it's like, what? Who are you right now? Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I just think it's so funny that they like didn't have cell phones, and then like he's like, and then that one guy, like her husband before Sam, he's like, I had a wife and a child, and then his like head just explodes. Like, oh my gosh, it is such a good episode. So it's one of my favorites. It really is. And then number 4 is an episode that is funny all the way through, and that is Scooby Natural. Yes, a classic funny episode of Supernatural. Scooby Natural is such a good episode. It is so funny. And I think one of my favorite parts of Scooby Natural is when Cass, when they're already in Scooby-Doo, right? Like they're already in the Scooby-Doo universe. And then Cass comes into the bunker and when he was talking about, he was trying to get, I forgot what he was trying to get, but he was trying to get something for a spell. And he's like, I went to the tribe of da-da-da and I got it, but I think I might be married to their princess now or something like that. And I lose it. I lose it every time. Yes, you love that part too. I lose it every time because it's just so funny. It's so funny. And I'm just like, oh my God. Like, Cass is just wonderful. He's hilarious. But yeah, Scooby Natural is great. It is so funny. And I love at the end when when Dean, they're like all watching the guy get arrested, and he's like, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those pesky kids. And Dean gets so excited, and he's like, he said it. And then he goes, oh, Scooby-Dooby-Doo. He's like, what? And Cass is like, yeah, you're not a talking dog. Yes, it is such a good episode. That crossover was perfect. And I'm so glad that they did an episode like that because it was amazing. Yes. All right. Number 3. Okay, so these next 3, let's see. Yes, these next 3 are my actual, they are funny episodes, but they are also my favorite episodes. Some of my favorite episodes of Supernatural. Like, if I had to pick a top 3, it would probably be these episodes. And they've kind of always been my favorite. So number 3 is fan fiction. I love this episode. I know all of the words to all of the songs that they sing in the musicals. I have like a whole playlist on Spotify with like all of the songs. It's wonderful. It is wonderful. I love it so much. I love that episode because, again, the music is amazing. It is really amazing. And I love it when they walk in and they're talking about, like, he's like, oh, they're playing Carry On My Wayward Son. And they're like, yeah, it's a classic. And Sam's like, oh, I never really He's like, I never really liked it. Oh my gosh. Right? Fan fiction is such a great episode. I just think it's perfect. And I love, as you'll see for my top 3 episodes, I love when like it's like the fourth wall, right? I love when they just like tear it down, and they're just like, and it's just like, supernatural, and they have to like deal with themselves being in this like fandom, which is, because it's like the fourth wall, and they're in the fandom, and then they're talking about the fandom in the show, and then you know what I mean. I love that, and you will see that in my last 3 episodes. But anyway, I love fan fiction. It's amazing, and it's so funny, and I love when she's like, subtext. Yes. Oh my gosh. And Dean's like, I'll sub it. I forgot what he said, but I'll sub your text, and then he's like, they need to be farther apart. They're just friends. I love SDL, so that's not me saying that. That's just me reciting what Dean was saying. But yes, that is such a great episode, and it is so funny, and it's one of my most favorite episodes in Supernatural. I love it so much. All right. Number two is the real Ghostbusters. I told you. I love it. And I love it because they're at a convention, and it's so funny. And I also love it because one of my favorite quotes is said in this episode. My favorite quote is, this is my favorite quote. When Chuck was on stage and he was talking, and he was just talking and talking because he couldn't let them out because there were like ghosts out there, and Sam and Dean were still trying to get them. And so he was trying to keep everybody in for as long as possible. And he's on stage and he's like, I lost my virginity at 16, but then she went around telling people that it didn't count. It's the Virgin Mary. I literally that made me laugh so hard. It is my favorite. It is one of my favorite scenes in Supernatural. I lose it every time I watch it because I'm just like, oh my gosh. I think it's so funny. Cause this was before people knew he was God, even though like Eric Kripke had kind of like planned it. I think I told that story last time when Rob Benedict thought Eric Kripke told him he was going to be God, and then he's like, oh, so I'm going to be back, and then they were like, no. So this was before everybody knew he was God, and so I thought that line was so funny, and it was so sneaky because they just kind of put it in there, Oh, it's great. It's a wonderful line, but it's such a funny episode, and I love it, and yes, I love it. Yes, it's such a good episode. All right. Number one. My number one is also my favorite episode of Supernatural, and that is the French Mistake. Yes, the French Mistake is my favorite episode of Supernatural. I love the French Mistake. I think it's the funniest episode of Supernatural. I think it's one of the best episodes of Supernatural. I love the French Mistake. I could watch it all the time. I watch it when I'm in a bad mood because it really just makes me laugh so hard. Yes, the French Mistake is so good. And see, like I said, I like the episodes where they just take the fourth wall out and it's just there. And I love when they walk in and he's like, I'm something called a Jared Padalecki. I'm like, oh my god. And then one of my other favorite lines is it's an alpaca. Alpacas are the greenest animal. I love Jen in that episode too. She's just so funny. And oh my god. The French Mistake is a wonderful episode. And then when they try to act, oh my gosh, every time I hear the word key now, the word key just doesn't, it means something totally different to me now. Because when Sam was like, you just put the key in the box, if we could just get the key. Oh my gosh, them acting out being bad at acting is the funniest thing ever. ever. And then Misha is just Misha is so good in this episode. He's like, "Hola, Misha amigos." Oh my gosh. And then it's so funny. It's so funny. Like, that whole episode, the French mistake, the whole episode is just genius. It's genius. I firmly believe that the French mistake is just genius. I really do. And okay, I'm going to go off on a tiny little tangent here. So, I personally think that a lot of Supernatural episodes, and I think there's a lot of episodes that are just like genius, I think. And I'm like, honestly, like, there's some episodes that are just so good. And I think that sometimes Supernatural isn't taken seriously because it's like sci-fi and fantasy, and it has like, this fandom and da 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 da. And sometimes I think it's not taken seriously as like a good, legit, good show. And I think it should be, because I personally think that it's just like, there are just some episodes and some things that I'm just like, it's just genius. It's like, what show can make you feel all of these different feelings in almost every episode, and then get you so attached to the characters and the storyline, and just like, I don't know. I don't know. But that's my little tangent. Just putting it out there, because I think sometimes people underestimate how good Supernatural is, and that I know I did it at one point. So like, I did do it at one point, but like, before I watched it, I didn't think it was going to be as good as it is. And I'm like, but now I'm like obsessed with it and I love it. So yeah, I just think sometimes people underestimate how good Supernatural is. And so I think there's so many episodes that are just like genius. But all right. Those were the funniest episodes of Supernatural to me, ranked